The restaurant was silent, until a man's loud laughter echoed across the hall. "Can't you even speak proper English?" he mocked the waitress, his voice dripping with arrogance. Her hands trembled as she tried to explain herself, her accent soft but pure. The man kept humiliating her, thinking nobody was watching. But what he didn't know, someone was watching, and that someone was about to turn his entire world upside down. Because in just a few moments, his wife would walk through that door, and what she'd say would make him collapse to the floor in shame. Marcus Johnson was a wealthy businessman known for his sharp tongue and his colder heart. Every evening, after closing deals worth millions, he visited the same restaurant in downtown Atlanta, a place where he could show off his power by belittling those who served him. That evening was no different. A new waitress walked in. A young, black woman named Alicia. Her smile was warm, but her eyes carried the weight of responsibility. She was working double shifts to pay for her mother's medical treatment. Marcus raised an eyebrow when she greeted him. "Good evening, sir. Can I take your order, please?" But her accent, a soft mix of African and Southern tones, made him smirk. He leaned back and said loudly, "Do they not teach proper English where you come from?" The restaurant went quiet. Other customers turned their heads. Alicia froze for a moment, her face flushed with embarrassment, but she managed a small, respectful smile. "I'm sorry if my English is not perfect, sir." "But I will do my best," Marcus chuckled. "Your best won't get you far in this country." He looked at his phone, ignoring the hurt in her eyes. Alicia served his food carefully, whispering a prayer that she wouldn't cry. But Marcus wasn't done. He began correcting her pronunciation, making sarcastic comments, all while recording himself, thinking his followers online would find it funny. The twist begins just then. The door opened, and in walked Clara, Marcus's wife. She had just returned from a 3-month humanitarian trip with the UN, something Marcus always claimed to tolerate. When she saw her husband mocking the waitress, her face turned pale with disbelief. "Marcus, what are you doing?" she asked quietly. He looked up, surprised but still arrogant. "Oh, honey, just teaching this waitress how to speak properly." The entire restaurant went silent again. Clara turned toward Alicia, recognizing her instantly. "Alicia?" she whispered. The waitress blinked, confused. "Ma'am, do I know you?" Tears welled up in Clara's eyes. "You saved my life," she said softly. Everyone stared as Clara explained. 3 years ago, while working overseas, Clara was caught in a flood in Ghana. A local woman risked her own life to pull her out of the water and gave her food and shelter for days. That woman's daughter was Alicia. Marcus's smirk disappeared. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "She saved you?" he stammered. Clara nodded. "Yes, and her family taught me more about kindness and humanity than you ever have." The realization Marcus's hand shook. He looked at Alicia, the same woman he had just mocked for her English, and for the first time in years he felt small. He whispered, I didn't know." Alicia looked at him calmly. "You never asked." Her words cut deeper than any insult. She didn't shout, didn't cry. She simply walked away, dignity in every step. Marcus turned to his wife, trying to explain, but Clara's eyes were filled with disappointment. "Do you see now?" she said. "The problem isn't her English. It's your heart." Marcus's legs gave way. He sank into his chair, his head in his hands. When he looked up again, Alicia was gone, and so was his wife. The redemption days later, Marcus showed up at the restaurant again, this time quietly dressed, without his usual arrogance. He waited until closing time to meet Alicia. "I came to apologize," he said, voice trembling. "Not just for what I said, but for who I was." Alicia looked at him for a long time, then nodded slowly. "People change when they choose to listen," she said softly. Marcus donated a large amount to the hospital where Alicia's mother was being treated, anonymously. He never bragged about it, never posted a video again. Months later, Clara agreed to see him again, saying, "The man I married was lost, but maybe he's learning to find his way back. Marcus smiled faintly, and every time he heard someone with an accent, he made sure his heart, not his ego, did the talking. Moral of the story: don't mock someone for how they speak. You might be speaking to the very person who could teach you humanity. Respect is a universal language, and only those with true hearts can speak it.